So it's a question related to redox titration of paper 3 9701 chemistry, and you can clearly see that in this question we are provided with FB1 and FB2, and we have to find out the concentration of hydrated ammonium iron 2 sulfate which is present in the solution FB1. And secondly, we are provided with FB2, which is KMNO4, whose concentration is provided to us. So the very first step begins with the dilution of FB1. So we are going to dilute the solution. For the dilution purpose, I am going to take all the FB1 into this burette, and I will be taking a volumetric flask like this. So examiner has told that I can use any volume between 36 and 37 cm cube of FB1 into this graduated flask. So what I can do is I can add any value that is between this range. For example, I have added 36.50 cm cube. So this is what I am going to drip off from the burette right into this graduated flask. And in order to make a dilute solution of 250 cm cube, I am going to add all the distilled water up till the mark of 250 cm cube. Then I will stopper it, I'll shake the solution, and the final diluted solution of FB3 will be ultimately ready. So this is how you just need to do the dilution, and all the steps are actually told already to us, and I have explained all of them to you. So the very first table that you need to draw is somehow going to look like this. You have to write down the final burette reading, the initial burette reading, and the volume of FB1 used that you have used to prepare this diluted solution. So let us suppose I take the value of 36.5. So I have added it here, and the volume of FB1 used is 36.5. Now that's a very important point, that you should always mention whatever you are taking from the burette. You need to mention its name always here right into the table. And moving ahead, we are told to do the titration. So the examiner has told that fill a second burette with FB2, and all the method is already given to us. So after doing the titrations, I have taken some assumed values, and this time you can see that we are not given the table to draw the rough titration table. So I have to do it right in the similar space, and for that purpose I have added this separate column here which is related to rough titration followed by the repeated titrations, right? And you can see I have taken some assumed values to make the calculations easy and understandable for you all, and according to these I can clearly say that the second and third titration readings are very concordant. Concordant readings are those readings which are present in the difference of 0.10 cm cube or a maximum of 0.20 cm cube. So my second and third titration readings are the best titers, right? So the B part says that from your titration results obtain a suitable value of FB2 to be used in your calculations and show clearly how you obtained this value. So I'm going to take the average of these two values. I can do it out like this: 24.10 plus 24.10 over 2. So the final volume that I get is going to be 24.10. And then the calculation part begins. The very first part says that calculate the number of moles of KMNO4. So you can see that in order to find the number of moles of KMNO4, we are provided with the concentration of KMNO4, which is 0.0120. So I can use it here, 0.0120. This concentration is given to us. And again, the volume of FB2, this FB2 is actually your KMNO4. This is also given to us. So I can use the formula moles is equal to concentration into volume over 1000. And this is 0.0120. The volume is 24.10 over 1000. So when I solve this up, this ends up getting us a final answer of 2.89 into 10 raised to power minus 4 moles of KMNO4. Then we are told to find out the moles of Fe plus 2, and you can clearly see the link which is given to us, that 1 mole of KMNO4 is equal to 5 moles of Fe plus 2. So I have to use the ratio method. I'll be doing it out like this, that 1 mole of this is equal to 5 moles of this. So if this is 2.89 into 10 raised to power minus 4, then this must be x. So I can multiply 2.89 into exponent minus 4 multiplied by 5, and this brings me to an answer which is equal to 1.45 into 10 raised to power minus 3 moles. Then we are told to find the concentration in mole per dm cube of Fe plus 2 in Fb3. So you need to understand that we are going to use the same moles, because we know I can do it out like this. Moles is equal to concentration into volume over 1000, right? So I can simply do it out like this, that moles are going to stay the same, 1.45 into 10 raised to power minus 3. The concentration needs to be calculated, and the volume of Fb3 that we have actually used is 25, right? So never get confused that we made a volume of 250 of Fb3. We are actually using only 25 cm cube of Fb3 from this 250 cm cube solution. So this is the volume that I have to use. So I'm going to write down 25 here into 25 over 1000. So this gives us a concentration which is equal to 0.0580. Then the examiner says calculate the concentration in mole per dm cube of Fe plus 2 in Fb1. So we have calculated the concentration of Fb3, and we have to calculate the concentration of Fb1. So we can easily link the two of them like this. I know that Fb3 is the diluted solution of Fb1. So what I can do is, we can use the formula C1V1, right, over 1000 is equal to C2V2 over 1000, because volume is in cm cube. So we have to find the concentration of Fb1. So this is going to be unknown. The volume of Fb1 was the one that we used here, this volume. So this is going to be 36.5. So I'm going to use 36.5 over 1000 is equal to concentration of Fb3. This is something which we calculated in this part. So it is going to be 0.0580 multiplied by the volume. Volume is going to be the total volume this time, because this is exactly the diluted solution. So this is the diluted solution, and therefore I need to take the complete volume here. So I took 250 cm cube, right? So the overall concentration that comes out to be from all this process is 0.397 mole per dm cube. The examiner says calculate to 4 significant figures the concentration in gram per dm cube. So always remember, you have to use this formula. Concentration in mole per dm cube is equal to concentration in gram per dm cube over mr, right? So I'm going to write down the concentration here, 0.397, and then I have to find out this. So this is basically the unknown, and the mr of entire this compound turns out to be, after calculations, this turns out to be 392. So I can multiply 0.397 with 392, which gives me an answer of 155.6 grams per dm cube, which shows that this is actually the concentration in gram per dm cube. Then it says that a student learns that the solution has been prepared by dissolving the solid in distilled water that has absorbed air from the laboratory. Suggest a way in which the distilled water can be prepared and stored to ensure that it contains a minimum of dissolved air, कि उसमें dissolved air बहुत कम हो. So you can write that you can heat the distilled water, because when you heat, the temperature increases, and when the temperature increases, you need to understand that solubility of gases decreases, right? So we can simply heat, and heating is going to raise the temperature, which will be decreasing the solubility of gases. So the next part says that estimate the error in reading from a burette. What is the smallest division on a burette scale? So the smallest division on a burette scale is always equal to 0.1 cm cube. And then we have to tell that the estimated error in a reading. So basically it's an error in one reading. So one reading has an error of 0.05 cm cube. Then the examiner says that what is the maximum possible error in a tighter reading. So you should know that one burette reading has an error of 0.05. So when we do the titrations, we take two readings at one time. We take the final value and we take the initial value. So I have a 0.05 error in this value, then I have a 0.05 error in this value. So the maximum error turns out to be 0.10 cm cube, which is going to be the sum of these two readings that we have taken. During one titration, a student reads the burette twice. Each reading has an error, but the titer has no error. Explain how this can happen. So this is a very different kind of a question where we are told that readings have errors, right? But titer has no error. So how is this possible? Let us suppose we say that you know that whenever you have to find out the readings, we always do them out like this. We take a final burette reading and we have a initial burette reading. So if the titer is coming fine, this answer is coming fine, then this means that student by chance has made an equal amount of error in both the final and the initial readings. So these errors will actually cancel out, right? So I can say that the errors are going to be cancelled out, and we can write them out like this, that errors are cancelled out, right? So we can assume that the student might have recorded initial and final burette readings both greater, or you can write 0.05 cm cube greater than actual readings. दिस मीन्स के जो उसने फाइनल ली थी उसमें भी 0.05 cm क्यूब का एरर है, जो इनिशियल ली उसमें भी है. सो द टू एरर्स कैंसल आउट एंड द टाइटर दैट यू गेट इज़ गोइंग टू कम आउट परफेक्टली फाइन. वो आपको ठीक आंसर देगा. सो दिस इज़ हाउ यू हैव टू डू दिस क्वेश्चन. आई होप दिस इज़ क्लियर.